When will that useless wife finally get pregnant?
Amidst the gathering of relatives, my husband drunkenly badmouthed me. Seeking refuge, I slipped out of the room, and there, my 6-year-old niece quietly approached me. She had an air of maturity about her and occasionally predicted future events like a fortune teller, a mysterious child. Suddenly, she began reciting what seemed like a phone number.
Auntie, try calling this woman.
With a determined expression, I succumbed to my niece's request and decided to speak to the owner of that number. Little did I know that this would reveal a terrifying truth. My name is Luna Martin. I met my husband, Michael, at a matchmaking party, and after a few months of dating, we got married. Michael was supportive of me continuing to work even after marriage, so I balanced household chores and work, leading busy yet enjoyable days. However, there was one issue that troubled us. For the past year since our marriage, we hadn't been able to conceive a child. Another disappointment. Both Michael and I were only children, so we longed for as many children as possible. The inability to get pregnant became a source of stress. I wish we had an adorable child like Mia. The name I inadvertently uttered belonged to my niece, whom I had cherished since her birth. Mia was unusually mature for her age and occasionally said things akin to prophecies, a mysterious girl. For instance, when we went out together, despite sunny weather forecasted, Mia would bring an umbrella. Huh? We don't need an umbrella today. It's so sunny.
It'll rain after lunch.
Really? You're kidding. It's such a beautiful day. Initially, I dismissed Mia's comment as a joke, given the cloudless blue sky. But around noon, the weather took a turn for the worse, and eventually, heavy rain left me drenched. Mia also predicted other events, like finding a lost neighborhood dog or guessing the ending of a drama we watched together. And Mia, even during my wedding, made statements that seemed to foresee the future. The truth is, Michael is a divorcee, having split from his previous wife due to infidelity. So, at Michael's request, we skipped the wedding ceremony and only took photos, which we sent to my sister's home. When my sister called to express her gratitude, Mia's anxious voice came through the phone.
Auntie, be careful.
Her cryptic words triggered a slight sense of unease, but I reassured myself that it was probably just her imagination. Little did I know that the meaning behind her words would soon become clear after that call. Due to our inability to conceive, my husband and I began arguing frequently. Sorry. It didn't work again.
Ugh. It's been a year since we got married. Get it together. Is there something wrong with your body?
That's a harsh way to put it. I want a child just as much as you do.
Really? Well, let's find out if you can get pregnant properly by getting tested at the hospital.
And so, I reluctantly went for the examination at my husband's insistence. However, no abnormalities were found in my body. When I reported this to my husband, one would expect relief, but his reaction was quite the opposite.
You're saying it's not your body's fault? Ridiculous.
It's the result of a proper examination. For peace of mind, why don't you get tested too?
Don't joke around. Are you implying I'm defective?
For some reason, when the topic of him going to the hospital came up, my husband transformed, vehemently refusing with raised voices. While it's common for men to be reluctant about medical tests, his reaction was far from ordinary. Why such anger? Something seems suspicious. Gradually, my trust in Michael waned, suspecting he might be hiding something. One day, while I was brooding over my worries, I heard the sound of my husband's phone ringing repeatedly while he was in the bath. Despite always keeping it on silent mode at home, he seemed to have forgotten to set it that way this time. Annoyed by the persistent ringing, I peeked at the screen and noticed a multitude of missed calls from the same phone number. Seeing this, I began to suspect that Michael might be having an affair, but even after discreetly checking his phone and bag, I found no evidence to support my suspicions. After some time, my husband seemed to be entrusted with a new project, resulting in late-night returns home. I supported him by handling the household chores he was responsible for, but there were no words of gratitude or apology from him. However, as I also worked full-time, it was challenging to manage household tasks perfectly.
Hey, the laundry is piling up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had overtime yesterday, so I plan to do it today.
Lately, you've been quite lax with housework. We're having store-bought meals for dinner, and you barely vacuum once a week.
I'm doing your share of the chores too. I work too, you know. If you have complaints, how about taking out the trash?
Unlike you, I have crucial work that affects the company's fate, so I'm tired. Besides, isn't housework a woman's job?
Michael spat out those words and settled onto the sofa to watch a comedy show. Complaining about being busy, yet you come home earlier than I do. As Michael relaxed in the living room, I silently continued with the remaining chores. Thus, caught between work at the office and domestic tasks at home, my heart gradually wore thin. Amidst all this, my husband and I attended a family memorial service. After the solemn ceremony, the gathering transitioned to a meal, with women bustling around, serving drinks to the men. Although my husband was meeting my relatives for the first time, his natural charm quickly won them over, and he engaged in friendly banter over drinks. While everyone praised him as of the kind and wonderful husband, my niece alone regarded him with a wary expression, an unforgettable moment. Then, fueled by alcohol, Michael blurted out disparaging remarks about me to our relatives.
My wife claims she's fine after the tests, but something seems fishy. After all, we're still struggling to have a child.
As I carried dishes to Michael's table, I overheard him spreading gossip about me. Though others gently scolded him, Michael's momentum didn't wane.
When will that inadequate wife of mine finally get pregnant?
Unable to bear his words, I rushed out of the venue, tears streaming down my face. Why did he say that, especially in front of our relatives? Just then, my niece Mia came searching for me.
Auntie, are you here?
She peered at my face and gently held my hand, calming my nerves. I hurriedly tried to return to the memorial service venue, but Mia stopped me. Then, in a hushed voice, she began reciting a series of numbers. A phone number, it seemed.
I thought of this number when I saw your husband's face earlier. Call it.
Huh? Whose phone number is this?
Never mind that, just dial it quickly.
Urged by Mia, I entered the number into my phone. Wait, this looks familiar. It turned out to be the same number that had filled Michael's call history on his phone. Realizing this, I hastily made the call.
Hello?
After a few rings, a melodious voice answered. And from that person, I learned the truth Michael had been hiding, a truth so far-fetched that I initially couldn't believe it.
Auntie, what the woman said is true.
But Mia, who had been listening alongside me, whispered this as I was panicking. Her words helped me regain composure, and simultaneously, my anger toward Michael erupted. Had my precious year been wasted on such a selfish man? As I hung up the phone, I noticed that the memorial service was about to conclude. With Mia by my side, I left the scene. As we hurried back to the venue, our relatives were already tidying up after the meal, preparing to leave.
Hey, where were you? We should head home soon.
Spotting me, Michael reached for my arm. Stop. I instinctively shook off his hand and turned on the speakerphone of my phone. Just as Michael, rejected and visibly angry, was about to ask what I was doing, a woman's voice came through the phone.
So Luna's words were true after all. Nice to meet you all. I'm Michael's real wife, Cindy.
The moment Cindy's voice reached him, Michael's face turned pale, and the surrounding relatives buzzed with unease. Yes, the owner of the phone number Mia had given me was Michael's true wife. Michael had fought with her for some reason and left home. Yet, without officially divorcing, he had somehow carried on a sham marriage with me. I had trusted him to handle the marriage registration, never suspecting he hadn't submitted it. Just as Cindy was about to say something, Michael snatched my phone, cutting the call and powering it off. Hey. What are you doing?
And what's your game? Who was that woman earlier?
What? Weren't you listening? She's your wife. The real one.
Come on, what grudge do you have against me? Cut the charade.
Our exchange unfolded while the watching relatives held their breath, sensing the tension. After a tense exchange, the person we had been waiting for finally appeared.
Michael, we finally meet. I've been searching for you.
The truth was that Cindy, Michael's real wife whom I had spoken to on the phone earlier, had arrived. Carrying shopping bags, she confidently entered the room, wearing a smile that bordered on intimidation.
Why are you here?
Luna told me about this place. Coincidentally, I was shopping nearby, so I came straight here.
With a grin, Cindy pulled an envelope from her bag and handed it to Michael.
It's a good thing I always carry it.
As he hesitantly opened the envelope, it revealed divorce papers and some other documents. When I tried to look at the papers, Michael stopped me. What's that?
It's just the results of a health check.
Well, then why not show it? Persistently pressing him, Cindy dropped a bombshell.
You won't show it, will you? Because it states that the cause of infertility is you.
Her words caused even more commotion among the relatives. After all, Michael had been blaming me for our inability to have children. Under their cold stares, Michael remained speechless. Afterward, Cindy began sharing the real reason Michael had left home. As it turns out, Cindy faced a similar situation to mine. Despite no issues on her end, she struggled to conceive, and Michael would make hurtful remarks. Fueled by anger, Cindy secretly purchased a testing kit and discovered that Michael was the one with fertility challenges. She intended to support him through infertility treatments, but Michael's reaction was explosive.
Why did you test me without my consent? And men can't be infertile. You've wounded my pride. I'll get out of this house.
True to his word, he left without listening to Cindy's side of the story. While most of the situation became clear, I still wondered why Michael hadn't divorced Cindy and instead entered into a sham marriage with me. The reason, it turned out, was surprisingly childish.
It frustrated me that I was told I was infertile, so I wanted to shock Cindy.
Apparently, Michael attended a matchmaking party to prove a point to Cindy. He believed that if he met a young woman like me, she would get pregnant.
My plan was to have a child with Luna and then flaunt it to Cindy before serving her divorce papers.
When Michael uttered those words, both the relatives and I were genuinely appalled.
You're truly despicable, trampling on Luna's feelings. Enough already. Sign the divorce papers.
Your unexpected appearance ruined my plan. Fine, we'll get divorced, but you'll be stuck with me forever.
Afterward, Michael angrily filled out the divorce papers and roughly handed them to Cindy. Cindy, glancing at the crumpled document, patted my shoulder and said, "Good luck," before leaving. After Cindy left, Michael's previous bad mood vanished, and he reached for my hand with a creepy smile.
Now that no one is in our way, we can truly become a family. Let's submit our marriage registration tomorrow. Come on, let's go home.
His overly optimistic words gave me goosebumps, and I once again shook off his hand. If you're going home, do it alone.
Why are you being so cold? We loved each other, didn't we?
You used me for revenge against your wife. There's no love left for someone like you. Brace yourself. I intend to sue you for marriage fraud.
Wait.
My icy words left Michael shocked and speechless. Leaving him there, I exited the venue. Shortly thereafter, Michael and Cindy finalized their divorce. I also filed a lawsuit against Michael for marriage fraud. In the end, Michael had to pay Cindy $20,000 and me $10,000 in compensation. Currently, Michael works tirelessly under his parents' supervision, while Cindy, now a successful career woman, enjoys a fulfilling life post-divorce. As for me, following my niece's assurance that the next person would be fine, I met a kind man and got married. I eagerly await the day when our new family will grow.
How did you find this story? If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to our channel. Until next time.